Let's talk about a party. A party so incredibly lavish, so completely over the top, that it actually helped bring down an entire kingdom. This is the story of an event that didn't just break records for extravagance, it ended up costing its host absolutely everything.
So, when you think of the world's most expensive party, what comes to mind? Maybe a huge royal ball in some European palace, or, I don't know, a modern day billionaire's crazy birthday bash? Well, you'd be wrong.
The real answer is way more surprising than that. The most opulent, most expensive party in all of history wasn't held in a famous city or some seven-star hotel. Get this, the location was a barren, empty desert. For just 3 days of celebrating, an entire landscape was transformed pretty much overnight, creating a temporary paradise out of literally nothing. The year was 1971. Our host was the ruler of Iran, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, and his goal? It was to throw a party so magnificent, so unforgettable, that it would completely reshape how the world saw his country, and of course, cement his own legacy. He had no idea it would do the exact opposite. Now, to understand how a single party could get so wildly out of hand, you first have to understand the man who threw it. The Shah wasn't just a king. He called himself the King of Kings. At the time, he was considered the richest man in the world and, without a doubt, the most powerful person in Iran. And when I say powerful, I mean absolute power. He could fire the prime minister on a whim, dissolve the entire parliament just because he felt like it, declare war whenever he chose. His secret police made sure anyone who spoke out against him, well, they just disappeared. Whatever the Shah said, that was the law, period. So you have this huge contrast, right? It was like two different Irans. On one hand, you had the Shah, living in just unimaginable luxury. But for his own people, more than half of them were living in extreme poverty. They didn't have basic food, clean water, medicine, or schools. And with the Shah's secret police listening everywhere, nobody dared to complain. But despite all that, the Shah was laser-focused on his party. And the preparations, which started a full year in advance, were on a scale that is, honestly, it's hard to even wrap your head around. The mission was to build a luxurious oasis for the world's elite in a place that had nothing but sand, scorching heat, snakes, and scorpions. So how'd they do it? Well, first, they cleared 500 acres of desert, getting rid of all the critters. Then, because the Shah decided he wanted a forest, they flew in 15,000 fully grown trees. Next, they built a royal village with 50 luxury air-conditioned tent suites, all of them pre-made in Paris and shipped over. And to top it all off, for that perfect paradise vibe, they imported 50,000 songbirds from Europe. The tragic part? Most of those birds died in the harsh desert before the party even started. So how do you get all this stuff into the middle of nowhere? Simple. You just build a brand new airfield just for the party, and then you build a 50-kilometer highway to connect it directly to your party site. Of course. Okay, so after a whole year of this insane construction, it was finally party time. And this is where the extravagance just went completely off the charts. The guests, the food, the service, everything was designed to be the absolute best the world had ever seen. The guest list was a who's who of global power. We're talking heads of state from 65 different countries, presidents, prime ministers, actual kings, queens, and emperors. And to get them from that new airfield to the desert oasis, the Shah bought a fleet of 250 brand new, bulletproof limousines. Just for the 3-day event. Just think about that. And for the food, you can't just hire any caterer. No, the Shah hired the best. Maxime's to Paris was arguably the most famous restaurant in the world. They actually shut down their main restaurant in Paris for 2 full weeks, flying their entire staff of chefs and waiters and all their equipment to the Iranian desert. The numbers here are just unbelievable. A total of 18 tons of food was flown in from Paris. That's 2,700 kilograms of beef alone. They also imported 12 tons of the world's finest wines. The indulgence was so extreme that even the ice cubes for the drinks were flown in daily from Paris. But all of this spending, it was starting to cause some serious problems. As word of the party's cost spread, anger among the Iranian people just grew and grew. To keep a few hundred VIP guests safe, the Shah deployed a staggering 65,000 soldiers. He shut down the country's borders, put the entire nation on lockdown, and arrested anyone who even dared to protest. So the party finally happened, October 14th, 1971. But when all the guests went home and the fancy tens came down, the real bill came due. And it wasn't just about the money. The ultimate cost was political. And at first, it looked like a massive success. The world's press gave it glowing reviews. So in the short term, the Shah actually got what he wanted. Iran's global image was boosted, and he was hailed as this great visionary leader on the world stage. But while the world was applauding, the people of Iran were watching in utter disgust. For them, seeing all this money spent on a 3-day party while they were starving, it became the ultimate symbol of a monarchy that was corrupt, wasteful, and totally disconnected from their reality. You see, that party, it lit a fuse. The anger that had been simmering for years just boiled over, and it became this powerful rallying cry for revolutionaries. In 1978, the Iranian Revolution began. Just a few short years after his greatest triumph, the Shah was forced to flee his own country. The Pahlavi dynasty was over, and the Shah himself died in exile just a year later. So, the story of the world's most expensive party ends not with a celebration, but with a revolution. And it leaves us with a pretty powerful question to think about. What really is the true price of extravagance?